Technical Service Bulletin, Update 1, by Jaguar Rover Triumph Inc. A training module revived by Jaguar Clubs of North America JCNA and Coventry Foundation. Please see www.jcna.com and www.coventryfoundation.org. Additional material by David Boger, EverydayXJ.com. Any supplemental diagrams or information are included at the end of the video, where you can halt and screen print if you wish. Please note that these materials were recovered from audio tapes and slides stored for more than 40 years, and the quality has suffered on some tapes, and we apologize.
Jaguar Rover Triumph Incorporated presents Technical Service Bulletin Update 1. This Performance Masters program is the first in a series to be issued periodically, which will illustrate new service procedures developed by Technical Service Bulletins. Today's program will cover 4 recent Technical Service Bulletins: J8214, Sunroof Adjustment; J8217, Electronic Speedometer; J8219, Fuel Injector Flow Test; and J8220, Cruise Control Test. We'll start with J8214, Sunroof Adjustment. A limited adjustment is provided to correct for wind noise and misalignment at the rear of the panel. Before starting the adjustment, note the fit of the panel at the rear on both sides, as each side is adjusted separately. Open the roof panel and remove the black nylon wedge on each side by sliding toward the rear. Be careful not to allow the wedge to fall into the track area, and do not intermix the wedges. Adjust the screw in each wedge as required to obtain the correct alignment. Clockwise adjustment lowers the rear of the panel, while counterclockwise adjustment raises the rear of the panel. Caution: adjust in small increments when raising the rear of the panel to avoid a fouling condition, which can cause jamming and paint damage when the panel is closing. J8217, Electronic Speedometer. For some time, electronic speedometers have been fitted to XJ6 Series 3 cars. These operate similarly to electronic tachometers, using a transducer installed in the transmission speedometer drive to generate a signal. A slight flicker may occur at speeds up to 10 miles per hour with this speedometer. This is a normal condition and should not be interpreted as a fault. Before substituting either the speedometer or the transducer to correct a fault, be sure the electrical supply circuits and ground connections are complete. Check all connections to ensure a clean, tight fit. Check for battery voltage at the transducer green wire connector with the ignition switch on. Also check for battery voltage at the speedometer green wire connector with the ignition switch on. Battery voltage should be indicated at both connections. And check for continuity in the yellow wire circuit between the transducer and the speedometer. When substituting components to find a fault, substitute the transducer first and test for correct operation before substituting the speedometer. If the apparent fault is an incorrect speedometer reading, the speedometer drive ratio should be checked before substituting the transducer. Do this by removing the transducer and marking the square drive end and housing as shown. Then, have an assistant turn one rear wheel while the other is held stationary. For every 6 rear wheel revolutions, the square drive should turn 7 3/4 times. The Technical Service Bulletin lists several possible faults with the probable causes. These should be referred to when a speedometer problem is encountered. J8219, Fuel Injector Flow Test. For this procedure, several items are required: the Lucas Epi-Test unit, a stopwatch, a 250 milliliter graduated fuel-resistant beaker with 2 milliliter divisions, and a quantity of 5/16" ID clear plastic tubing. Before starting the procedure, confirm that the fuel delivery system up to the injectors is in satisfactory condition. Remove the air cleaner assembly to allow free access. Remove the electrical connector plugs from all 6 injectors. Without disconnecting from the fuel rail, remove all injectors from the manifold. Be careful not to lose the injector insulator O-rings. Connect the EpiTest unit to the ECU harness plug. Then switch on the ignition. Set the EpiTest switch positions to those shown in Test 18, airflow meter system, in the EpiTest manual. A to 12, B to 5, C to 1, and polarity to positive. Locate the graduated beaker at the front of the engine compartment with the top below the level of the injectors. Make up a length of plastic tubing that will run from each injector to the beaker without kinks or sharp bends. If necessary, make additional lengths. Reconnect Injector 3 harness plug and connect the plastic tubing to Injector 3 nozzle. Feed the tubing into the beaker. Press and hold the EpiTest pump switch to pressurize the system. Simultaneously press and hold Injector 1 switch for exactly 1 minute. Then release the switches. Time the 1-minute period with a stopwatch. Carefully remove the tubing from the injector and drain the residual fuel into the beaker. Now check and record the amount of fuel in the beaker. Repeat the test for Injector 3 to confirm your results. Continue testing the remaining injectors by repeating the procedure for each injector. Be sure only the injector under test is electrically connected. For testing injectors 1 and 2, press EpiTest Injector 2 switch. For testing injectors 4 and 5, press EpiTest Injector 3 switch. And for testing Injector 6, press EpiTest Injector 4 switch. Run each test 2 times to confirm your result and record the amounts. The injectors are operating correctly if the output is more than 230 milliliters in 1 minute. Replace only injectors which do not meet the minimum flow rate. Our next technical service bulletin in this program is J8220, Cruise Control Test. The Cruise Control Tester is being made available to enable you to quickly and accurately test the Jaguar Cruise Control System. The tester has several indicator lights and switches. Indicator lights 1 through 9 check wiring continuity, test system switch functions, and check battery voltage supply to the system in a static condition. Indicator lights 10 and 11 indicate output from the electronic controller under operating conditions with the system engaged. Indicator light 12 indicates a speed input signal. The toggle switch allows you to select static testing or testing with the vehicle in operation. The 2 push buttons allow manual operation of the throttle actuator. To test the cruise control system, the tester is connected between the electronic controller and the vehicle wiring harness. Side panel to gain access to the electronic controller. Disconnect both controller connector plugs and interconnect the tester 9-way plug to the system, and interconnect the tester speed input 2-pin plug to the system. Start testing by checking the cruise control system in a static condition. Set the tester switch to static. Move the gear selector lever to neutral. Switch on the ignition. And switch on the cruise control master switch. Indicators 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, and 9 should be on, indicating correct continuity in those circuits. If one or more indicators is not on, investigate the circuit to determine the cause of no continuity. Move the gear selector through its entire range while observing the tester. Indicator 8, neutral override, should be on in all positions except drive. Press the vehicle control switch to the set position. Indicator 3, engage, should come on. Operate the vehicle resume switch. Indicator 4, resume, should come on. Now slowly depress the brake pedal while observing the tester. Indicator 5, brake light, should go off first. Then indicator 6, brake, should come on in sequence. If both indicators 5 and 6 are on together An open circuit exists in the green-purple circuit between the brake light switch and brake lights. If this circuit is not complete, the cruise control system will not function. If you continue to depress the brake pedal further, indicators 1 and 2, control and dump, will go out. This is a normal condition. The static portion of this test is now complete. Next, check the actuator with the engine running. Before starting the engine, ensure that the actuator cable has a maximum of 40 thousandths free play. Set the tester switch to Run. With the handbrake on, select Neutral and start the engine. Press the tester lower button. Indicator 11, Dump, should come on, indicating voltage supply to the actuator dump valve. While holding the lower button, momentarily press the upper button. Indicator 10, Control, should come on, and the engine speed should increase. Caution: engine speed increases rapidly when the upper button is pressed. Be sure to release as soon as the operation is established. If the engine does speed up, check the vacuum supply to the actuator and the actuator throttle cable connections. When you are satisfied with the result, release the lower button and switch off the engine. After proving the actuator operation, a driving check can be performed. With the tester still connected, drive the car. When the car starts moving, observe the tester. Indicator 12, Input, should flicker at slow speeds, indicating a speed input signal from the drive shaft speed transducer. If this does not occur, return to the workshop and check the transducer mounting, air gap, and magnets. The correct air gap is 0.275 inch plus or minus 40 thousandths. Now take the car to a flat road where cruise speeds can be maintained. Speed up to about 50 miles per hour and press the vehicle set switch until the accelerator pedal can be felt moving. Release the set switch and remove your foot from the accelerator. Indicator 11, Dump, should go on. The car should now cruise at plus or minus 1 mile per hour of the speed selected. If this tolerance is not maintained, the electronic controller is defective and should be replaced. Recheck the cruise control tolerance after replacement by engaging Set as previously described. Press the set switch quickly several times at cruise speed. This should have very little effect on the speed indicator 10, Control, which should be flickering on a level surface. Find an uphill section of road. With the cruise control engaged, indicator 10, Control, should come on bright, traveling uphill, and dim, traveling downhill. Brake the car to about 10 miles per hour below the selected cruise speed. Both indicators, 10, Control, and 11, Dump, should go out as the brakes are applied. Now, press the vehicle master switch momentarily to Resume. Both indicators, 10, Control, and 11, Dump, should come fully on. Hold the switch until the car accelerates back to the original cruise speed. Just before reaching this speed, indicator 10, Control, should again start to flicker as the system resumes control of the car's speed. Slow the car to about 15 miles per hour. Accelerate slowly while momentarily pressing the vehicle master switch to resume at 1 mile per hour intervals. As the cruise control minimum control speed is reached, about 22 miles per hour, indicators 10, Control, and 11, Dump, should come on fully, and the car should accelerate back to the original cruise speed. Move the gear selector out of drive. Both indicators 10, Control, and 11, Dump, should go out. Finally, re-engage drive and press Resume. Indicators 10, Control, and 11, Dump, should come back on, and the car should return to the preset cruise speed. If the system performs all these functions as described, operation is normal. Return to the workshop and remove the tester. Reconnect the system harness plugs and refit the panel cover. This completes the first Technical Service Bulletin Update program. Technical Service Bulletin Update is part of the Continuing Performance Masters Service Training Program.
The End. Revived by Jaguar Clubs of North America, JCNA and Coventry Foundation. Please note, all special tools shown here, apart from the Sun Workstation, are available under the JCNA, Coventry Foundation Members Tool Loan Program. Please see www.jcna.com and coventryfoundation.org. Thank you.